Good Shabbos from Mali Ephraim in the Jordan Valley. I want to share a teaching today from the kedushas Levi, it's Reb Levi Yitzhak of Berditchev, on this week's parsha, tzeitzei. Tzeitzei includes a very important and interesting mitzvah. And the Torah says, if you happen to come across a bird's nest on the road, or any tree or on the ground, with chicks or eggs inside it, and the mother bird is roosting on the chicks or on the eggs, you must not take the mother bird while she is roosting on her young. You must send away the mother bird, and you may take the young for yourself, so that it will be well with you and that you live a long time. So this is a very interesting mitzvah, and the kedushas Levi has a very interesting explanation of it. Kedushas Levi explains that there are two kinds of spiritual arousals, an arousal from above and arousal from below. A person cannot, however, rely on being awakened from above, but must try to awaken himself. In response, the Spirit of God will arouse him further, for God gives wisdom to those who are wise. When a person acts wisely by stirring himself, God gives him additional wisdom, stirring him further from above. So this is similar, the kedushas Levi says, that when a mother nurses her little infant, a mother will position herself so that she can do so. This inspires the infant to arouse the mother to nurse him. This is likewise true regarding God. If a person is not clever enough to arouse himself, he is sent an arousal from above. In this vein, we can understand what the tzeitzei writes on the Shulchan Aruch Chaim, where he says a person should awaken the dawn. The dawn should not awaken him, meaning that he should initiate the arousal from above, and the dawn, the heavenly arousal, should not be necessary to arouse him. So in this context, the kedushas Levi says we can explain the verse, if a bird's nest chances before you. The word for bird, sipor, is related to the Aramaic word for morning, which implies light. Thus, the verse intimates on a mystical level the following level. If you chance upon a bright radiance, a heavenly arousal awakens you while you are on the road. And on the road means as you follow in the ways of God that leads you to a portion of the world to come, referring to good deeds that lead to this. On any tree, and that is the tree of life, which is Torah. So why does God send you a heavenly arousal? Because the mother is sitting upon the fledglings. That is, because you are still a small fledgling in the knowledge of God, and are unable to awaken yourself to his service. Therefore, the mother, the heavenly mother, must first sit upon the fledglings. That means to arouse those who lack the intelligence to arouse themselves, even though God usually gives wisdom to the wise. Nevertheless, you shall not take the mother upon the young. You should not rely upon this heavenly arousal, that which the heavenly mother sits upon the fledglings upon you. And the kedushas Levi continues and says, in order that it should be good for you, that is, for God has more pleasure when you awaken yourself, as our sages say. The Jewish people sustain their Father in heaven. The pleasure that we give God is called his sustenance. Consequently, when you take the initiative, God derives greater delight, and the more delighted he is, the more reward you will be given. This is why the verse says, in order that it should be good for you. And the verse continues, and you shall lengthen your days, intimating that you will obtain yet another benefit by awakening yourself with this holy virtue of performing good deeds. This is the fact that the arousal from above will be prolonged, continuing to inspire you for a long time. By contrast, if the arousal from above comes without any prior initiative from you, you give nothing to God. There is no way that this arousal will inspire you for any length of time. This is why the verse says, you shall lengthen your days. The word days denotes radiance. Thus the verse declares that the radiance that is given to you from above will remain with you. And the verse continues, you shall send away the mother, meaning you should divest yourself of, send away physicality. If you want the mother, the heavenly arousal, this way the arousal can find a place within you to reside. This is very interesting on different levels. So on one level, it says if bird's nest chances before you, So that implies to me that this is an arousal from above. That in other words, it's hashgacha pratit, or divine providence, that you should chance upon the bird's nest. But then we have to take action, right? So the mitzvah is for you to remove the mother bird before you can take the chicks or the eggs. So this is your action that will then create an arousal from above. So I think that the teaching from this implies that when we're at a high level, high madriga, we should have the ability to arouse ourselves, and that will then elicit a response from above, an arousal from above. And it becomes like a cycle that when we do something positive and arouse and do an arousal from below, we're rewarded with an arousal from above that creates more holiness in our lives. And then when we get that arousal from above, that will elicit another arousal from below. So I think that the takeaway from this is that we need to be conscious of the need for us to really push ourselves to create an arousal from below. So that means overcoming the Yetzer Hara. So when we wake up in the morning, we're tired, and we start saying, well, maybe it'll be better davening if I stay home than if I go to shul. Then we overcome that Yetzer Hara, and we know that we should daven with a minyan as long as if it's possible. Then when we do that, that'll be our arousal from below that will elicit arousal from above. And what the parsha is saying, what the kedushas Levi is saying, that when we do that action, when we do the arousal from below, then that light that we receive from Hashem, the arousal from above, stays with us longer. If the arousal only comes from above and we don't take any action to create an arousal from below, that light, that additional light and radiance that we receive, won't necessarily stay with us. So sometimes we can initiate the arousal from below totally on our own, but sometimes we get a little hint from Hashem that He creates the arousal from above, but then we can take the next step and create the arousal from below. And this is similar to what's going on in the month of Elul, where we know that the king is in the field. So some would say that the king being in the field is actually an arousal from above, and that elicits the arousal from below. But we're taught that we need to make the first step. The king is in the field, he's accessible, but we need to take the first step, and we need to arousal from below in order to draw down Hashem's light and to meet God in the field, because we have to go out to the field in order to get closer to Hashem. So we may be blessed in this month of Elul to have the wisdom and the koach to take the actions that we need to do to create an arousal from below, and to know that when we do that arousal from below, that this will elicit blessings from above and arousal from above, and that arousal from above will create a radiance and a light in our souls that will stay with us. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos.